I never meant to fall for two men, especially not brothers. When I first met Nathan, everything else faded. It was the second week of freshman year at Stanford, and we were both in Professor Albright's American politics class. He had this quiet charm about him, always calm, always composed, with a voice that made you want to lean in just to catch every word. He didn't flirt, at least not the way most guys did. He asked me questions, real ones. About my hometown, my favorite books, whether I believed in soulmates. And the way he looked at me while I answered, like my words were the most fascinating thing he'd ever heard, it made my heart race in a way I didn't know was possible. We started dating just before Halloween. Late-night coffee runs turned into morning walks, shared playlists, and long conversations under the stars. He was different. Smart. Driven. A little reserved but thoughtful in the ways that mattered. The kind of guy who remembered the name of your childhood pet and brought you soup when you were sick. By Thanksgiving, I was all in. Head over heels. That was the night I met his brother. Nathan invited me to his apartment for a small friend-giving dinner. Nothing fancy, just a few classmates, some burnt stuffing, and too much wine. The doorbell rang while we were setting the table, and when Nathan opened the door, there he was. Liam. He was the opposite of Nathan in almost every way. Where Nathan was measured, Liam was spontaneous. Where Nathan watched quietly, Liam walked in like he owned the room. "Reese, this is my brother Liam," Nathan said, smiling like it was no big deal. Liam held a store-bought pumpkin pie in one hand and offered the other to me. "So you're the girl my brother can't stop talking about." His eyes were hazel, a shade between mischief and mystery. He said it like a joke, but I couldn't ignore the way he looked at me. Like he saw through me. I laughed awkwardly. "Only good things, I hope." Liam smirked. "Guess you'll find out." That night, I did my best to ignore the heat creeping up my neck whenever he was near. It was wrong. I loved Nathan. I really did. But Liam had this magnetic pull I couldn't explain. It wasn't about looks, though he was undeniably handsome. It was something in the way he carried himself, so effortlessly confident, like he had nothing to prove and everything to hide. After dinner, while everyone else was playing Cards Against Humanity in the living room, I stepped out onto the balcony for some air. A minute later, Liam joined me, 2 glasses of wine in hand. "Crowded in there," he said, handing me a glass. "Yeah," I replied, staring out at the city lights. "But the food wasn't bad. Don't lie. The stuffing tasted like cardboard." I laughed. "Okay, fine. But at least the pie survived." We stood there for a moment in silence. Then he asked, "You really like him?" It caught me off guard. "Nathan?" He nodded. "Yeah, I do." Liam took a sip and looked out at the street below. "He's not who you think he is." I turned to him. "What's that supposed to mean?" He didn't answer right away. Just finished his drink, set the glass down, and said, "Just be careful, Reese." That's all. Then he went back inside, leaving me with a head full of questions and a heart that was beating way too fast. Over the next few weeks, Liam became a regular presence. He lived only 15 minutes away and was always around, sometimes dropping by Nathan's place unannounced, other times meeting up for drinks or helping him fix something. And every time I saw him, it got harder to breathe. It wasn't just attraction, it was attention. Liam noticed things. Like when I cut my hair or changed my perfume. He teased me in ways that felt too familiar, too intimate. And sometimes I caught him watching me when he thought no one was looking. I told myself it didn't matter. I was with Nathan. I was happy. Or at least I thought I was. The first rail crack appeared one Friday night. Nathan had told me he was pulling an all-nighter at the library for a group project. I decided to surprise him with coffee and snacks. But when I got there, he wasn't in the study room he mentioned. In fact, his group said he hadn't shown up at all. Confused, I texted him, no response. I waited in the library for an hour, pacing between the stacks, before finally heading back to his place. He wasn't home either. It wasn't until the next morning that he texted, "Sorry, I fell asleep at Liam's. Long day." Something felt off. I didn't say anything. I didn't want to seem paranoid. But later that day, when Nathan left his laptop open, curiosity got the best of me. There was a message notification. From someone named Jenna. At first, it was just small talk. Harmless, friendly. But then I scrolled up. "Last night was amazing. I miss you already. I wish you were here. Reese doesn't have to know." My chest tightened. I kept scrolling, each line cutting deeper than the last. It wasn't just one night. It had been going on for weeks. I closed the laptop and sat there in silence, heart pounding, mind racing. I wanted to scream, cry, throw something. But instead I picked up my phone and typed out a name I wasn't sure I had any right to. Liam. He answered on the first ring. Hey, his voice was soft. Everything okay? I opened my mouth but the words didn't come out. Reese? He asked again, more serious this time. I need to talk to you, I finally said. Can you meet me? 20 minutes later, we were sitting in his car outside a closed diner on El Camino Real. The windows were fogged from the cold, and he had a thermos of coffee in the cup holder like he knew I'd need it. I told him everything. About Jenna. The messages. The lies. He didn't interrupt. Just stared out the windshield, jaw clenched. I warned you, he said finally. You could have told me more, I whispered. He looked at me then, eyes full of something between regret and anger. Because if I had, you'd think I was just trying to get between you two. Aren't you? That made him pause. Then he looked away again. No. I just didn't want you to get hurt. There was a long silence between us, the kind that stretches and bends until something breaks. Then he turned toward me, leaning in, and for a second, one dangerous second, I didn't pull away. And he kissed me. One kiss. That's all it took to change everything. The second his lips touched mine, the air changed. It was nothing like the first kiss I ever shared with Nathan, sweet, nervous, careful. Liam's kiss was messy. Real. Heavy with something unspoken. Guilt, maybe. Longing. Years of things unsaid. And I kissed him back. Only for a moment, but long enough to know the damage had already been done. I pulled away first, breathless and shaken. Liam, we can't. He stared at me, his eyes dark with confusion, his voice hushed. I know. The car fell silent. My heart thundered in my chest. I couldn't even look at him. I shouldn't have, I started, but he cut me off. I kissed you. Not the other way around. He swallowed hard. But don't act like it meant nothing. I opened the door and stepped into the cold night air. It can't mean anything. He didn't follow me. Didn't argue. Just sat there in the driver's seat as I walked away, trembling. The days that followed were torture. I didn't say a word to Nathan about what I'd found on his laptop. I wanted to confront him, but every time I looked at him, all I saw was betrayal, and Liam. I kept my distance emotionally, physically. Nathan noticed, of course. He asked if I was stressed, if I needed space. I told him I was overwhelmed with classes. He offered to cook dinner. I made excuses. He tried to hug me. I flinched. I was falling apart from the inside out. And Liam? He disappeared. No texts. No unexpected visits. It was like he'd vanished completely. Until the night of the formal. Nathan had asked me weeks ago to be his date to the winter formal hosted by his fraternity. Back then, I'd said yes without hesitation. Now I stood in front of the mirror in a navy blue dress, feeling like a liar in silk. I almost didn't go. But I needed answers. The party was loud and glittering, full of half-drunken laughter and Instagram poses. Nathan was in his element, laughing with friends, introducing me like everything was normal. Like he wasn't sleeping with someone else behind my back. I watched him as he talked to one of his classmates, a redhead named Emily who clearly thought boundaries were optional. He didn't even notice when she touched his arm, leaned into him. And that's when I saw Liam. He was standing in the corner of the room, drink in hand, eyes locked on me. For a moment, everything disappeared, the noise, the music, the people. It was just him. And me. And everything we'd left unsaid. I excused myself from Nathan's side and made my way outside, my pulse racing. Liam followed. We ended up in the courtyard behind the venue, lit only by string lights and the glow of the city beyond. What are you doing here? I asked, hugging my arms. Came with a friend. Didn't know you'd be here. He paused. Okay, that's a lie. I knew. I looked down. You've been avoiding me. Because I can't think straight when I'm around you. There it was, honesty, raw and unfiltered. You kissed me, I said quietly. And I let you. But it can't happen again. I know, he said, stepping closer. But it wasn't just a kiss. You felt it. I know you did. I didn't deny it. Instead, I whispered he cheated on me. His expression darkened. With Jenna. I nodded. I found the messages. Liam exhaled sharply and looked away. I warned you. You should have told me everything. I didn't want to be the reason you left him. And now? He looked back at me, something fierce and fragile in his eyes. Now I just want you to see the truth. Tears stung my eyes. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. He stepped closer again, close enough that I could feel the warmth of him. You don't have to figure it out tonight. But whatever you decide, make sure it's for you, not for him. Or me. The next morning, I finally confronted Nathan. We sat on his couch, sunlight streaming through the blinds. He looked so normal, like the guy I thought I loved. But I couldn't ignore the bitterness curdling inside me. "I know about Jenna," I said, watching his face closely. His smile vanished. "What?" "I saw the messages." "Don't lie." He rubbed his face, then leaned back like the weight of his own choices finally crushed him. "It was just a mistake. It didn't mean anything. You kept seeing her. I didn't want to hurt you." "You did hurt me," I snapped, voice trembling. "You could have told me. You could have ended it before it got to this. I didn't want to lose you." I stood up. "Well, now you have." I wish I could say that everything got better after that. That I felt free or proud or strong. But mostly I felt numb. I didn't run to Liam. I didn't run anywhere. Instead, I stayed in my dorm, wrapped in a blanket, avoiding calls and classes for 3 straight days. Until one night, there was a knock on my door. I opened it, expecting my roommate or maybe a delivery guy. But it was Liam. He looked as tired as I felt. "I wasn't sure if I should come," he said. "But I couldn't stop thinking about you." My voice was barely a whisper. "I broke up with him." "I know," he said. "He told me." We stood there in silence, both unsure of the next move. "I'm not ready for anything," I said finally. "I don't even know what this is." Liam nodded. "I'm not here to pressure you. I just wanted you to know I'm still here." I looked into his eyes, those same eyes that once felt like danger, but now maybe they were safety. "Okay," I said. "Then stay." And he did. He didn't kiss me. He didn't climb into bed. He just sat next to me on the floor, shoulder to shoulder, and let me breathe. And for the first time in weeks, I felt like I could. I thought Nathan's betrayal was the worst part. I was wrong. The night Liam sat beside me, quietly holding space while I unraveled, felt like the start of something safe. No expectations. No pressure. Just someone who saw my pain and didn't try to fix it, just stayed. For the first time in weeks, I fell asleep without feeling like I was drowning. But peace doesn't last long in love triangles. Especially not when secrets still linger in the shadows. The next few days passed slowly. I kept my distance from Nathan. We had one awkward encounter in the student center where he tried to apologize again, claiming he was going to therapy, trying to change. But I didn't believe it. I wasn't angry anymore, I was just done. Liam, on the other hand, started showing up in small ways. Texts in the morning. Steady snacks dropped off outside my door. Once he brought me coffee and waited outside the building until my class ended, not saying a word, just handing me the cup and walking away like some emotionally damaged superhero. And maybe that's what drew me to him, the quiet strength, the honesty. Until I stumbled onto the one thing that shattered everything I thought I knew. It started with a phone call. I was at the library, trying to stay ahead in a political science course I'd been neglecting. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me swipe. "Hello." A pause. Then a woman's voice. "Is this Reese?" "Yes, who's this?" There was another pause. "You don't know me, but my name's Tessa. I'm Liam's ex." My heart stuttered. I probably shouldn't be calling you, but I saw a picture of you two on someone's story. I just thought, you should know what he did. I sat up straight. "What are you talking about?" Tessa exhaled. "He's charming. He makes you feel like the only person in the world. And then he disappears. Or worse, he ruins everything around him." "Be specific," I said sharply. She hesitated, then said, "He cheated on me. With his ex before me. And before her? He almost got expelled from his old school because of some fight that put a guy in the hospital. He has a pattern, Reese. He plays the good guy, but he's not." I hung up. My hands were shaking. I didn't want to believe her. But the thing about doubt is that once it creeps in, it doesn't let go. I confronted him that night. He came over with Thai food and a half smile, but I didn't even say hello. "Who's Tessa?" I asked, arms crossed. His expression changed instantly, from soft to guarded. "You talked to her?" "She called me." He set the bag of food down slowly. "What did she say?" "That you cheated. That you lied. That you got in a fight so bad you were almost expelled." Liam's jaw clenched. "That's not the whole story." "Then tell me your version." He ran a hand through his hair and sat on the edge of my bed, looking suddenly much older than 21. "I did cheat on Tessa. Once. And I hated myself for it. But I told her. I ended things. I never lied. I stayed silent, watching him. As for the fight, yeah, it happened. My freshman year. Some guy cornered my friend at a party. She was crying, pushing him off. I stepped in. He swung first. I hit back. It got ugly. I blinked. Why didn't you ever tell me? Because I didn't want you to see me the way everyone else does. Like some broken, violent screw-up. You're not a screw-up, Liam, I said softly. But secrets turn people into strangers. He stood up, his voice rising. You don't think Nathan had secrets? You gave him 3 years and he lied to your face. I tell you the truth now and you're already halfway out the door. It's not that simple. Yes, it is, he snapped. You don't want complicated. You want safe. Predictable. You say you're done with Nathan, but you're still living in the world he built. That hurt more than I expected. He grabbed his jacket. Call me when you figure out who you're really mad at. And then he was gone. Again. Days passed. I didn't call him. I didn't hear from him. I tried to focus on school, friends, anything but the gnawing ache in my chest. But everywhere I turned, there were reminders, a coffee shop we used to go to, a scarf he left in my room, songs on my playlist that now sounded like memories instead of music. Nathan, meanwhile, started circling back like a vulture sensing weakness. He messaged me every few days. I miss you. I made a mistake. Let's talk. I ignored most of them. Until one night, curiosity or loneliness got the better of me. We met at a little diner off campus. He looked polished, almost like the guy I fell for 3 years ago. But when he smiled at me across the table, it felt like a stranger was wearing his face. I'm not here to win you back, he said. I know I don't deserve that. But I just wanted to tell you I'm proud of you. I raised an eyebrow. Proud? For walking away. For standing up for yourself. I never thought you would. I wasn't sure if it was a compliment or an insult. Why did you really cheat? I asked. He looked down at his coffee. I think part of me wanted to ruin it. Like. I knew you deserved better, and instead of rising to meet that, I tore it down. I hated how much I needed you. That admission hit me like a wave. And then he said something I'll never forget. And the worst part is, I think Liam might actually be the guy you deserve. Not me. The next morning, I went to find Liam. He wasn't in his dorm. I asked his roommate, who told me Liam had driven out to the lake just outside town, the place he used to go when things got too heavy. I borrowed a friend's car and went after him. When I found him, he was sitting on the hood of his car, staring at the water like it might swallow him whole. He looked up when I stepped out. Didn't think you'd come, he said. I almost didn't. I walked toward him slowly. I talked to Nathan last night. Liam didn't react. He told me something I think you should know. He said I deserved better. And he thinks that's you. Liam scoffed. Shows how little he knows. I stood next to him, close enough to feel the cold wind on his skin. You're not perfect, Liam. You've made mistakes. So have I. But I'd rather build something messy and real with someone honest than live in denial with someone pretending to be perfect. He looked at me, his eyes raw. You still want messy? He asked. I nodded. Only if it's with you. He took my hand, and this time, when our lips met, it wasn't about guilt or confusion. It was hope. And maybe finally, love. They say once you make a choice, the universe finally lets you breathe. But they never talk about what happens right before that choice, the chaos, the uncertainty, the terrifying possibility that no matter what you pick, someone gets hurt. I thought it would be easy after that night by the lake. Liam's arms around me, his voice low against my neck, the world finally quiet. But love triangles never dissolve that neatly, not when the past keeps knocking on the door. And mine knocked hard. It started with a letter. Yes, an actual physical letter. Folded in half, slipped under my dorm room door like a secret waiting to explode. I recognized the handwriting before I even opened it. Nathan. Reese. If you're reading this, it means I finally stopped being a coward. I know I told you I was done trying, but the truth is, I've never stopped loving you. And maybe Liam is the better man. Maybe you'll be happier with him. But I couldn't leave without telling you something. There's more to what happened last year. More than the cheating. And you deserve to know. If you want the truth, meet me at the old observatory tonight at 9. If you don't come, I'll understand. Nathan. I stared at the words, my hands trembling. I wasn't sure if it was dread or curiosity. Liam was supposed to pick me up at 8 for dinner off campus. We were finally going to act like a couple. No secrets. No drama. And yet, that damn letter burned a hole in my brain all day. What more could Nathan possibly say? I didn't tell Liam about the letter. I know I should have. But something told me if I mentioned it, he'd either forbid me from going or volunteer to come with me. And this was something I needed to do alone. So at 8:50 p.m., I stood outside the observatory, a place where Nathan once took me stargazing for my birthday sophomore year, and waited. He was already there. His hands in his pockets. Hair messy from the wind. A look on his face that wasn't familiar. Not smug. Not apologetic. Just tired. You came, he said. I nodded. He said there was more. Nathan looked up at the sky for a moment, like he was searching for the right constellation to guide his words. I didn't just cheat because I was selfish, he said. I cheated because I thought you were slipping away from me. You were getting more serious about law school. You started talking about internships in DC. I panicked. I felt like I was losing you. So you slept with someone else? I know. It makes no sense. But that night, I was drunk, angry, and stupid. And when I realized what I'd done, I hated myself so much, I convinced myself it was your fault. That's not an excuse, I said coldly. It's not. But it's the truth. I turned to leave. But then he said something that stopped me cold. I'm leaving. I looked back. What? I'm transferring. Across the country. Oregon. Fresh start. Clean slate. I blinked. Why are you telling me this? Because if there's even 1% of you that still wonders, still questions what we had, I needed you to know that I'm walking away. For real this time. Not because I don't love you, but because I finally love you enough to let go. I didn't respond. I just stood there, heart aching in that old familiar way. As I walked away into the night, I didn't cry. For the first time, I felt something close to peace. The next morning, I told Liam everything. About the letter. The meeting. Nathan's decision. And even though his face stayed calm, I saw something flicker in his eyes, jealousy or fear. I didn't want to hide it from you, I said. I know, he replied quietly. And I trust you. Then he added something that shocked me. I'm proud of Nathan. I laughed. Really? He shrugged. Takes guts to walk away from something you still want. There was silence between us, comfortable now. But deep down, I could feel something shifting. Because Liam had been so steady, so strong, so constant. And I started wondering, what if he's too perfect? 2 weeks passed. We settled into a routine. Weekend brunches, study sessions, Sunday hikes. Liam was supportive, kind, even goofy when I needed him to be. But one evening, as we lay on the grass near the quad, watching clouds drift across the sky, he said something that made me freeze. I don't think I believe in forever, he whispered. I turned my head. What do you mean? I believe in now. In the moment. In real messy love. But I don't think any of us know what forever looks like. And I don't want to promise you something I can't keep. It wasn't cruel. It was honest. But that one sentence haunted me for days. Because Nathan, for all his mistakes, was always the one dreaming about forever. House. Kids. Life together. And Liam? Liam believed in now. That's when I realized something. I didn't need someone who loved me perfectly. I needed someone who chose me every day. Even on the hard days. Especially on the hard days. So I made my choice. One quiet Sunday morning, I invited Liam for coffee. We sat by the window, the light spilling across the table, our mugs steaming. I love you, I said softly. But I don't think this is what either of us needs. Liam's eyes didn't show surprise. Just acceptance. You're still chasing something with Nathan? He asked. No, I replied. I'm chasing something with myself. He reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Then go find her. The that doesn't need to be chosen because she's already whole. We hugged. We cried a little. And just like that, we said goodbye. I didn't run back to Nathan. I didn't beg for another chance. Instead, I graduated. Took that DC internship. Got my own place. Started building a life I didn't have to shrink for anyone. Months later, I got a postcard from Oregon. It said, I meant it. I'm proud of you. And I hope he's treating you right. If he's not, I'll be the guy cheering from 1,000 miles away anyway. N. I smiled. Because I was finally treating myself right. Sometimes love isn't about choosing between two people. Sometimes it's about choosing yourself. And when you do that, you don't lose either of them. You simply stop needing to be saved.